Obviously, we are here today to talk about what happened this past Sunday and the fallout of that on Monday as the Falcons make a flurry of decisions and moves to try to fix the debacle that was in Carolina. Falcons losing 30-0. Raheem Morris calling it rock bottom. You know, the new lowest of the lows. One of the worst games I've seen this team play in years. And that's saying a lot. Just a lot didn't go right. And so really this episode, I'm not going to really recap the game, but I'm going to talk about the fallout of the game, and especially the offense, which is the focus. Pennix had his first really bad game at this level. Zach Robinson, his play calling, and just everything in between with that and how things have gone, because something's not adding up to me. But at the same time, Falcons are 1-2 with a huge game coming up for the bye week. You really don't want to go into your bye 1-3 with Buffalo coming up. You really don't. And so I'm going to go into just what my thoughts on the situation is right now in Atlanta and what I think could come from this. Because at the end of the day, I'm not also a guy who thinks the sky is falling and everything's over. Some people are. That's just that's your narrative. That's fine. Me, I'm gonna see it through until they basically have shown, okay, yeah, it's wrapped. So so we're gonna do that today on the episode, man. If you enjoyed the episode, definitely subscribe to that channel and like the video and leave a comment down below about anything I talk about today. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So the Falcons offense, which was expected to be the strength of this team, has been the weakness. They have regressed from week 1 to week 3, which is weird. You really had no changes offensively. You're in the second year of a system. The guy who you brought in the last 3 games last year, you would assume after an offseason of being the QB1, that would help his development in terms of how he feels, and he would just build upon what he did. But there's so many miscues, miscommunications, quarterback shy to pull the trigger, sloppy route running. Something's up right now with the Falcons offense. And it's and everybody has their opinion because so many different people are dissecting it. Everybody with the all 22 film dissecting it, talking about what they see and what they think is wrong. What what I'm saying? Everybody has an opinion, right? And so for me, I will start with Michael Pennix first before I go into the overall offense. So Michael Pennix, like I said, had his first bad game, right, against the Panthers, where it was the most alarming game I've seen. But again, I'm saying it's weird because he never played like that the first 5 games. So I saw it a little bit in Minnesota, but still not to what we saw in Carolina. He seemed very uncomfortable with what he was seeing. It just seemed like he wasn't liking what he was seeing. He didn't trust what he saw. There were plays, after looking at a few plays in film, that he missed some wide open guys or he rushed decisions. And that's something I've noticed with him is he's rushing things. And I'm like, why are you rushing? Because this game, the Panthers were not all over Michael Pennix. Michael Pennix was not facing just ferocious pass rush. And that's why I was like, why is he rushing these decisions? What's going on with that? Communication issues have been an issue for a second straight week in a row. Apparently, they were saying Atlanta says the mic and the signal or whatever and the helmet of Michael Pennix was not working correctly, whatever, right? And that's been an issue because essentially Michael is getting up to the line already under 10 seconds, can't really read the defense, and just basically is just trying to get the snap off on time before he can read anything. Right. And so a lot of people obviously saw that performance, and some people are already like, I don't think Pennix is the guy. I think we need to ask questions. And I think a lot of it is too, he hasn't lit the world on fire through the passing game. So some people are just like, well, is it because he's not good? Right. I still have confidence in Pennix. And listen, people were making this example, and this example is a very realistic view of the NFL. A lot of quarterbacks, young quarterbacks in the league, we are in a time where I think we want them to be good so quickly. We want them to show us that they're great quickly. And if it actually takes them time and they have bad games, we're very quick to be like, I don't know if he's it, right? Because technically, I could say Pennix has played good more than he's played bad in his career so far. So the fact that he's probably had his like actual worst game just now, I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, he's terrible. I think Michael, you know, his way he's been playing this year has been a little confusing. Because if you remember the 3 games from last year, he was gunslinging. It's like he saw it and he took it. Like he trusted like what he saw and said, I'm taking it. I can make the throw. I have not seen that man this year. The closest thing to that has been Tampa Bay, where I talked about, when that game happened that, they were sending blitzes and he knew where to go. He trusted it and he went with it. And ever since that game, it felt like something changed from week 1 to week 2, right? And obviously they went with a more run heavy attack against Minnesota, but something changed from week 1 to week 2. And then week 3, I think, is where you saw like the bottom of it, where it's like, what the heck was that, Pennix? Like sloppiness across the board. I am not going to sit here and say the man did not play bad. He did. That's as simple as it gets. I think, obviously, like any quarterback, you have to let them learn through it, bounce back from it, and grow. There are quarterbacks in this league who did not start great and were able to learn and improve. There are some guys who had a full first year who that was not good, but still ended up being a good quarterback or a franchise quarterback. And I want us to keep that in mind. We cannot sit here and bail on a guy because he had a bad game. Because you're basically saying he could never have a bad game, essentially. And that's not realistic. That's not fair. That's not how you evaluate in the league. Because now the team that we're playing next, the Commanders, is going to look at the Panthers tape and think we can just do the exact same thing the Panthers did and make Michael Pennix show us that he can beat our coverage and, figure out what we're trying to do. And Pennix should know that. He knows that he has to come into the next game knowing, hey, they're going to try to do some of the same things Carolina did to me to get me to do the same things, right? And so I really hope against the Commanders back at home, we see more of the gunslinger, Michael Pennix Jr., a guy who's not afraid to throw the ball in the tight windows or at least go for the big play. Because the one thing I saw all through camp and we saw last year was they were pushing the ball. Michael was pushing the ball. And he hasn't pushed the ball. And I'm like, why are we not pushing the ball? And, Zach's talking about, I think teams are taking it away. But I'm like, I don't know if that's fully the complete reason why. Something's changed where he's just not pulling the trigger. And he needs to open up this offense. He needs to do that. That just has to happen. You cannot just do sideline, at the sticks, curl, sticks, and ends. Like, you need to start kind of going over the middle, which I know that's a part of his game that's been a bit of a question. But I would think for his talent and his skill set, that would actually work. So, again, I don't know if that's a coaching thing or that's a Pennix thing, right? And listen, we knew he had some bad habits and some issues coming out of college. That's something that you would think coaching can improve. Now, obviously, I know this coaching staff isn't in the greatest light right now with the fan base. So you wonder, can the coaching staff figure it out for him? Maybe. We'll see. But I think Pennix deserves the opportunity to learn from this, bounce back from it, and then we'll see what we have in a guy. Because, listen, there's guys who just don't have good games, but you have to kind of flush it and keep moving. And I think that it'll be interesting for me to see Pennix's resilience and how he kind of fights through adversity like this, coming off that type of game. Because people are going to crush him all week and question, is Michael Pennix the answer? And that's just part of it, the process. But at the same time, you're a professional. He's been doubted a lot in his career. He's said that multiple times. Obviously, we know about the injury history early in his career. So I'm really going to be looking at how he responds and how he kind of comes back out this next week against the Commanders on Sunday. So That's kind of my thing with Pennix. I'm not overly concerned. Like, I'm not like, oh my God. If Pennix shows me multiple games of bad play like that, that's when I get concerned. I'm not going to get concerned because I saw one. That's an overreaction. If he does this the next few, now we have a problem. But we got to see, right? But now let me go to the offense as a whole. The offense as a whole has been not good at all. They just communication issues. Pennix has missed some wide open guys. I will say that Pennix has missed some wide open guys. But also some of the receivers have run some sloppy routes. Nobody looks like the players we saw last year. Like, even Drake London doesn't fully look like the Drake London from last year. Darnell Mooney does not look like the Darnell Mooney from last year, even though we know he missed camp, so he's trying to work his way back. Ray has been practically almost non-existent. I mean, Kyle Pitts has kind of been the most promising pass catcher, realistically, out of all of them. And like I said, a lot of the missed touchdowns have been to him. So I think the offense has a bit of an identity crisis, and I think that does start with Zach Robinson. I think I did not like the game plan against Carolina because you came off a game against Minnesota where you ran the football very successfully. That has been the bread and butter of this team for years, really ever since the Arthur Smith era, where he established the running game. They wanted to be able to run the football, everything, right? They came out, I believe, in that game, first 3-4 plays are straight passes. And I kind of sat here and I was like, why? Because I sometimes feel like with Zach Robinson, he gets a little too pass happy for me. And I feel like what it does is it doesn't allow you have these two running backs that could easily have a top 10, top 5 rushing attack, in my opinion, in the league with what you have. Because that's one thing, listen, we can say this offensive line is a little questionable when it comes to pass blocking, but when it comes to run blocking, that's the strength of the line. And I don't feel like we lean on it enough. I don't feel like we utilize it enough. It's like, it almost feels like at times he overcompensates. Like, well, the Vikings game, we didn't pass the ball well, so we need to throw the ball against Carolina. And I'm like, brother, just run the football and then try to create plays off of that. Plus, the Falcons don't even do a lot of play action, which has been a question of Zach Robinson the last 2 years. Why don't we do more play action? And I also just feel like his continuity with play calls is not great. Like, to be an offensive coordinator, to me, you have to be ready for all situations. You have what you want to do. Then you need to adjust if the team is taking something away that you thought you could do coming into the game, or if there's an opportunity that presents itself that you didn't think was going to be there during the game. And I feel like Zach sometimes will have a play or two where I'll watch it and I'm like, that's a really good play. That's a good play call. It's a good concept. But then he'll come back with just, what was that? What did we just run there? Why did we run that screen? Like, it's like he struggles to put together a string of strong plays. Or he'll like first down, 2-yard run, second down, shot play, third down, screen. And you're like, brother, it's 3rd and 8. What are we doing right now? Or like when we get behind the chains, especially when the Falcons get behind the chains, they are not good at getting out of those situations. They have struggled when they have penalties. I just think Zach sometimes in his play calling is not conducive to what they need. And I'll say this. Raheem Morris said that Zach Robinson will now be on the sidelines with Michael Pennix. And I think that's overdue, especially with when they made the change to him, because last year with Kirk Cousins, when you have a veteran quarterback like him, I feel like it's okay if your offensive coordinator's in the booth, because he's a veteran. He knows, he knows how to handle himself in the team, in the offense, right? He's a veteran quarterback. He knows. Pennix is still young. He's still learning. He just completed a 6 start. Like, he is trying to gain experience. The best thing you can do for him is be on the sideline for him. Because I felt like, as communication has been a major issue for this offense, him being up in the booth doesn't help that. Because where's the communication coming from? Who's getting everything cleared up? How are they adjusting? How much is Zach talking to Pennix during the game? I think that's much needed dialogue and conversation between the two. So I do think him moving down is a good move, because when the offense seems lost, who's getting them back on track? TJ Yates? I don't think so. So that way, Pennix and Zach can kind of talk about what they're seeing, what they're seeing, what they think is wrong, how can we attack it, how can we adjust to it. Like, he can do that, right? And also, look at the other 3 quarterbacks in Michael Pennix's draft class. Sean Payton, head coach, on the sideline for Bo Nix. Cliff Kingsbury is on the sideline for Jayden Daniels. Who's the other guy? Drake May, Josh McDaniels, on the sideline for Drake May. I feel like when you have a young quarterback, the best thing you could do is have as much communication as possible with him. And I think that this could help them, right? Now, they also made a move by releasing Ike Hilliard. The wide receivers coach, TJ Yates, now takes over kind of with the receivers, and then DJ Williams is now moved up as the primary quarterback coach, which I know he and Pennix have had a strong relationship already within the working environment. So first, I will say this. The Ike Hilliard move, a little shaky to me. That maybe could be a bit of a overcorrection. But obviously the Falcons look back at things and think that with the wide receivers not catching a single touchdown pass in 3 games, that could be because of him. And there are, like I said, there's plays where there's sloppy route running and miscommunications and things of that nature, because communication is probably the theme of what the offense has been missing. But they made the move. We'll see if that fixes anything, right? We'll see if that gets them in line. Because I think that's the biggest part of this entire equation, is that you're trying to figure out how can we get everyone back in place. And listen, I will commend Raheem for being proactive. We criticized him last year for not being proactive. He is proactive. He is trying to consistently make changes. How can we fix it? How can we fix it now? He knows how deep this season is for him. He understands how important the Commanders game is on Sunday. He knows how big that is for him. And so I just, with Zach, I just kind of want him to just, what type of offense do you want to run, man? And then just go with that. Like what is the offense? If you have an elite running game, run the football. Make them make you not run the football. Don't just not run the football. Make the Commanders not make you run the football. Make them make you have to throw it. Do not just throw the football and then don't make Bijan a factor. Why did Tyler Algier only have 1 carry in the game? And every Falcons rusher had at least 4 yards of carry. So it wasn't like you were getting shut down by Carolina. It just felt like there was just so much, just no continuity at all on offense. And that is a big issue in week 3. This is past them playing in the preseason. Preseason ain't going to fix what we saw the last 3 weeks. I'll tell y'all that right now for my preseason truthers. Because if it's lasting multiple games in the regular season, that's more than a preseason problem. That is a fundamental coaching communication problem. So that needs to be worked on, fixed, changed, whatever. So, the Falcons, like I said, huge game coming up for them. They got to figure it out, man. We're in some crucial times right now. Critical week of practice. The team got to get ready. We don't know if we're going to see Jayden Daniels on Sunday. Got to be prepared for him or Marcus Mariota. Either way, even with Marcus Mariota, they steamrolled the Raiders last week. So you can't take them lightly anyway. But the offense has to get fixed. You cannot be a top 10 offense and then pull the stuff you've pulled the last couple of weeks. All the confidence that they were talking with this offseason, the expectations. The offense has not been anywhere close to what they've tried to display through talking to the media in their confidence. Because now it feels like their offense is playing scared. Like the offense is scared. Pennix, pull the trigger if you see it. You have all the talent in the world. Pull the trigger. Listen, you're a gunslinger. You're going to make mistakes. But I'd rather you do that than I'd rather you gunsling and have 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, and maybe a pick or two than you throw in for 182, 0 touchdowns and a pick or two. Like, brother, the thing about the Minnesota game is even though the offense didn't play well, you didn't make the major mistake. This game, the offense didn't play well, and you made major mistakes. If you can clean that up, that's just the first step for you. But also just being confident in what you're seeing on the field. And Zach needs to help with that. Zach needs to conduce game plans, and y'all need to get on the same page through communication of what y'all want to do out there. People ask you the question, is the Falcons offense as good as we think? I think the talent is there. I just think the way that they're being used isn't great. I've seen fans consistently and constantly talk about coaching. Coaching is the problem. Because why is it that we have – because the thing is we have Drake London on record playing very, very well for years. We have Darnell Mooney last year played really well. We have Bijan Robinson played well the last couple of years. We have evidence that we know what they're capable of, and they have not looked like that. Bijan has been the offense. He's practically been the Atlanta offense, and that's a huge problem because you have other talented players on your team. So something needs to change and change fast. Like I said, they made the firing. They moving guys around, moving Zach to the sideline. They're trying to do something. They're trying to make something happen. But, I mean, this is a crucial week coming up, man. And a lot of people are just in the dumps, feel like the sky is falling and everything. So, Falcons got to figure it out, man. Falcons got to figure it out. I think, like I said, Pennix needs time. Let's see how he responds from his first bad game. How does Pennix respond? How does the offense respond? You want to go into the bye week 2-2, then 1-3. You have a tough slate of games coming up. Bills, didn't matter what your record was going to be. People think they're the best team in the league, so you're not going to be favoring that game. 49ers, they're undefeated, but they haven't looked like incredibly impressive in these games. They've just been able to squeak wins out. That's a winnable game for you. That's why you need this game. So instead of you having to play catch up and potentially be 1-5, if things happen a certain way. So because if you lose this game, I mean, people are probably going to be like, is Raheem on the hot seat? Are the Falcons going to fire him midseason because of what's going on? And so if they want to quiet all of that, they know what they got to do. So we'll have to see what the offense does. And I will say this about the defense, and some people think, oh, they let up 30 points. All right, this is how you separate ball knowers and just people who score watch, stat watch. Falcons defense. If you take away the 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions by Michael Pennix Jr., the Falcons defense would have allowed 16 points in the game. That's more than good enough. Yes, did the Panthers get some first downs? Yes. Were they able to run the football? Yes. The defense was not perfect. I'm not saying that. But they were good enough in the game. You had a pick 6, so you have to take those 7 points away. So 23, because if you want to say they could have stopped them after the second pick, fine. 23 points. That's still not, awful. Defense has kind of been the saving grace right now for this team. Jeff Ulbricht's group has been good. Pass rush has been inconsistent, yes. But for the most part, they've been good. D. Alford has been filling in really well with A.J. Terrell out, which led to them releasing C.J. Henderson. So, big for him. We just have to keep seeing what happens, right? And I think that's why the Washington Commanders game is winnable, because I think the defense will continue to have a game where they're not going to let the game get out of hand. It's just the offense has to help them. And also, special teams had a bad day on Sunday too. Raheem said they're bringing in more kickers because he's like, brother, we cut Younghoe Koo, and now you missed 2 kicks. Now I don't know if we can trust you. He said somebody got to stick at some point. So Falcons got a lot of stuff they got to figure out. Honestly, the way it looks this early bye actually might be a blessing for this team. That they're going to get an early week in the season to go ahead and try to figure crap out before they start trying to make a run. So we're going to have to see, man. But that's just my thoughts on kind of what's everything's happening right now. If you guys enjoyed the episode, definitely like the video. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. And follow me on Twitter at Bryce_2K as well if you want to interact with me on there too. So we'll see what happens. Falcons in a very critical situation right now. We'll see how they respond. It's your boy Bryce Lewis. We'll see you next time.